Yes.
Talia is going to be telling us about copywriting and putting your voice into copy. Now, Talia, I'm going to be pausing you throughout this because I am a student here, like the
Perfect.
audience is a student. I want everybody to understand as most as they can because
Hmm.
we want this to be super practical, right? There's marketers listening to this, agency owners, business owners, and we want to be able to have step-by-step examples or practical ways that they can use copy in their work and be able
Hmm.
to make more money essentially.
Love that.
Okay, cool. So
Perfect.
the floor is yours.
All right, awesome. So I love that you brought up the voice because I did want to talk about why finding your voice is so important in copywriting. That's really where you should start. And if you have already started, you can always go back to this and strengthen it. But this is really, in my opinion, how you stand out from the rest. You know, one important thing to note is good copy informs, but great copy sounds alive. So that is what I think is my superpower, is bringing life into the copy, breathing life into it. Um, so so this whole class really, it's about turning dead beige copy into something that sounds human, sounds alive. So in the great world of AI, coming out, this is I think it's a great way for not only for you to learn how to write more human sounding copy, but it's a great way for you to spot bad copy or AI copy. So I did talk about why being very important. So I'm just going to dive into that a little more. So your why is so important even beyond copywriting. Your why should really start with your core values. So before you start with the voice, make sure you have your core values. That is going to define your voice and your tone throughout your copywriting, throughout your business, or how you operate culturally, how you hire. That is one thing that I learned at Cardone Ventures, was that your why is so important. People often forget that. That's why sometimes you'll look at some brands and some companies and it feels robotic. It feels like they lost the messaging. It feels like they changed who they were when they started. Like you see some of those brands sometimes, you're like, they're not the same as it used to be, but I think that the why is truly, truly important. So yeah, like I said, it goes with everything. It goes into, what you say, how you say it, that really, really matters. So to think of it this way, brands, you really want to think of it as an entity. It's a person. It's not like it's not a robot. So brands don't write, they speak. So always want to think about the psychology of who you are. So you can come off as like you really want to define who you are. Are you coming off as the best friend? Are you coming off as the expert? Are you coming off as a rebel in a type? A rebel would be kind of like a Ben and Jerry's, for example. Like they're very much like a rebel style voice. Like they're political with their ice cream, but they're selling ice cream, but they're political about it. Like they pick a side and they stick to it. So that's like one way that you can see that. So one thing that I noticed that people do with copywriting is that they think that it's just a bunch of fancy words strung together in a sentence. Like I always see, like, we provide innovative solutions for this, whatever. It's just a jumble of words that at the end of the day, do you even know what you're reading? Do you even know what you're writing? Like if someone said that to me, I'd be like, what are you trying to say here? Like what is it that you want? So that's why, like, copy really is a voice. It is not a sentence. It is, again, going back to the voice, going back to your persona, bringing psychology into this. So once you define like who you want to come off as, psychology plays a huge role into it, because you don't want to be saying something that psychologically you wouldn't say. Like someone who's very snarky wouldn't say something that is friendly, for example. Someone who's very direct wouldn't beat around the bush. Things like that.
So you want to start out by your core values, right?
Yes.
And so that's like before you start writing or before you start any marketing campaign, you should start at the strategy. Who are you trying to appeal to, right? So I usually start everything with my ICP, right? Who are we selling to? Now, what you're saying is like when you want to write copy for your brand or for your personal brand, whatever brand you want to create that voice for, it's like, what are the core values for the brand, right? Or
Yes.
like your core values. And now, when you define core values, how do you go about it?
Right. So this is something, again, I learned this at Cardone Ventures. Your core values is what you hire, reward, and fire for. And it is that simple. It is that simple. Hire, reward, and fire. So you hire people based on your core values. That exemplifies your culture. That alone is your voice. Your culture is your voice. So like core values can be transparency. You are a transparent person. We are transparent as a company. We hire transparent people. We reward, we give them bonuses, promotions for showing transparency in their work and who they are. Results oriented. We want to see results. We're not just saying whatever. Like we are very results oriented business. We're another thing that you can do is alignment is huge. You can be, I think being aligned with the overall messaging is very, very important. Another thing that you can do is, I'm trying to think of one of the Cardone Ventures core values was really good. There was like the transparency, discipline is huge. So you want to come off as disciplined. If you want to like now that's more a business centered way, but if you wanted to go like Ben and Jerry's as an example, like I would say informative is definitely something that they are. They're informative, but they're also quirky. So I don't know how you can hire or reward or fire on quirky, but being informative is definitely a very important thing. And that is what they do. They're trend setting, they're informative, but they're an ice cream brand, but that's who their voice is. It really ties back. I think the core values really adds on to the voice because that helps. Yeah, I really think it helps the copywriting, it helps the culture, helps the overall messaging, all that.
For sure. Cool. And now then like your next point in my notes here were your character sort of thing, right? Who do you want to come off as? The rebel, the innovator, right? And so when you think about defining your character, how do you go about that?
Yeah, that's a very good. It depends. Okay, so it depends on really what the brand sells. Again, the core values, what your overall end goal is at the end of the day. So like I would say a good example here, for example, let's see, I had like here's like the best friend example. So you've seen people walk around with like the little star face sticker? Like the zit sticker patches, like the little
Yes,
stars.
yes,
Yes.
yes.
So that is like, they could come off as informative, like they could come off as like an innovator in their field, like, oh, these zit stickers are great for your skin, blah, blah, blah. But no, they come off more as a best friend. Like their line is very much like acne happens, here's a sticker. Like they're more like that versus like 99% of people that wear them, blah, blah, no, they're just very like, life happens, cover it up. Like it's very like they're your best friend. They're the one that sees like something on your tooth and they're like, by the way, like that's their vibe. So it really does depend. That's something that's in my opinion, a loaded question because it's a lot of different ingredients going into that.
Right.
I think.
But it's basically like a little bit of the persona you have, right? Like what is your persona? How does that align with your core values, right?
Yeah.
If you're a core value that you reward for is like discipline, your persona is not going to be a rebel.
Right.
Or maybe, I don't know.
They could be very disciplined in their, I mean, with the another smart rebel I have here is Liquid Death. Like their slogan is murder your thirst. Like that's they're a joke with a point. Like they even talk about how most most cans don't get recycled. Like they actually end up in landfills, but aluminum always is recyclable, and they use aluminum cans. Like they're informative, but they're the rebel. They're like, you're drinking canned water. Like their marketing is very, I think they aced it. Like I love a play on words. Like again, murder your thirst come on, like
That's
Liquid Death. I think it's hilarious.
If you're an agency owner looking to scale, you definitely want to explore our solutions at Stealth White Label Agency. With 14 years of experience and over 120 niches, we've been helping agency owners not only fulfill for their clients, but also acquire new clients so you can only focus on scale for your agency. If you're interested, definitely DM me, Joao, on my Instagram, or comment below and somebody's gonna reach back to you. Back to the podcast. Something that I wanna know for the audience is that, Talia is a professional copywriter, right? And so you're a specialist in copywriting, where a lot of people that use copywriting may be like the owners of the business that need to write copy for an ad. But you're essentially looking at copywriting in terms of like that's what you're teaching us right now. It's like, it's not just words on a landing page. It's how do those words align with your core values, with your character, creates your voice, and it aligns with your whole brand, right? Like your slogan is going to be that smart rebel, say murder your thirst. And then the copy is also going to follow suit and be the same theme, right? And so like you define the overall theme and then you put words that match that overall theme in different assets, like ads, landing pages, and so forth. And so I think that's really important for people to tune into that, because when they hear copywriting, they're thinking about, okay, I just need copy for my landing page, right? But it's like, no, that's not how the power of copy. It's not only what you're reading, it's about how what you're reading also matches like the overall marketing for that company. Do you agree with that? Like, is that
No,
what you're saying?
yeah, like I really do think that like anything with copywriting for me, I'm very visual when I'm writing, when I'm reading. Like I have a very great imagination. So I'm always thinking, what do I see? How do I feel? If I don't feel anything, yes, I am an emotional buyer. I'm also a logical buyer. I go on Amazon Prime for logical buying. Like that's when I'm getting, like, if I need to get extra cat food or whatever it is, that's just like, I know I need to get that done. But I'm a very emotional buyer. Like it has to pull at my heartstrings. And a lot of people are, whether they realize it or not. Like it's, you had said that, like, landing page copy, that it all ties into it. It's very, very important. But there was one thing I did want to say. I did, so one of my friends had this like online boutique. So I was helping her develop the brand voice, this and that. One way that we did that is we started with the core values, and then you can start with the about me or about us page. Core values, about us. Those are the two that should be like your main source of everything. Like just go back to that. Like you go back to your core values and your about us. It doesn't even have to be long. A lot of people feel like, and this is where I can spot the AI from a mile away, is when it is way too wordy. I'm like, you're not trying to reach a word count. That's one thing that I learned in the very beginning. Like when I first started copywriting, I was just reaching my word count, making a long wordy. And my mentor at the time was like, he's like, hey, love you, love this. Now, keep it simple, stupid. It's a number one thing. Keep it simple. I don't know if you watch The Office. So there's this one scene where Michael Scott, the main character, is getting explained something from someone in finance. He's not getting it. And then he's like, okay, can you explain it to me like I'm 5? That is the key to copywriting. Can you explain it to, if a 5-year-old can understand it, perfect. Of course, again, there's nuances. If you're like a different, like an AI company or like a, I don't know, an engineering, those things are very different. But yeah, like for the most part, you should be able to explain it to someone like they're 5. And then one thing I might be skipping around here, but because I did mention the about us, the about us page with the core values, one thing you do want to do also is write down what you would never say. That is like a really good way to go back and be like, okay, well, we wouldn't say that, so let's not say that. I think that brand copy and voice is very, very important. Of course, website, any like institutional, like evergreen things, that is very, very important to keep your brand voice. But when it comes to like, sometimes ad copy is not always going to be the most beautiful thing in the world. Like you're just A/B testing, especially that there's always going to be like the little caveats with those things. But yeah, it is. I think that when it comes to core values and your about us, that is like a very good way to always go back to the baseline, going back to your why, going back to that. And you can review that once a week if you have to really hone in on that.
Right.
Yeah.
And
And you can definitely use ChatGPT's help, not to write things for you, but to, like, if you want to write landing page copy, I would ask it like, hey, I'm trying to reach out to this demographic. This is their pain point. This is what I'm trying to sell. What format should I use? They'll give you that format. They'll get, like, ChatGPT will be able to give you like the best format that you want to use, the best layout, or however you want to call it. But yeah, that's what I would use it for. Not so much. Yeah, you can use it for like grammar. How can I make this better? How can I make this shorter? What should I remove?
you know, I run Stealth White Label. It's my agency. It's a marketing agency. And we provide a lot of marketing services. I know a lot of the technical aspects of marketing. I think that copywriting for me, it's the one, it's the voice, right? The voice is really what speaks to people. The voice of something. You can think about formats of content. You can think about formats of landing pages. You can think about like ways to, have a video where it's like a talking head or it's a voiceover. Everything needs to have a message, and the message is what touches people. The message is what's going to touch on the pain points, on the desires. The message is really what's going to sell the idea. And that's what copywriting is about for me. I love copywriting. Like, there's only one book that I carry with me everywhere, and it's Breakthrough Advertising by Eugene Schwartz.
Oh,
Like, that is my favorite book of all time. I learned my love for copywriting came from that book.
I love that. Wow. My love for
Yeah.
copywriting came from Ogilvy on advertising. I know that's the first book that you're supposed to read on marketing advertising, but the way he describes copywriters is what made me go, that's me. Like it was just the way it was described. Yeah, I think, yeah, that copywriting really is very, very special. And like you said, the voice is the most important thing, because you can have all the fancy formats and the landing pages and the ad copy, but at the end of the day, what matters is truly your voice. It's your why. Like that's what you go back to at the end of the day.